Hi, Linda here. Today I'm going to show you how I upcycle greeting cards and postcards into little notebooks and journals. They're great to keep in your purse as a note taker or to give as gifts for your crafty friends as well. I think it's just a great way to make use of cards that you receive to sort of give them a second life. But of course, you can also use brand new cards, which is what I'm doing here. If you're a stationery lover like me, then you happen to collect a lot of stationery from greeting cards to postcards, maybe when you go and visit places on vacation. But it doesn't really do anyone any good if they're just sitting around. So I like to use them, turning them into something new like a notebook or a journal. And the process is actually very simple and easy to do. Just decide on what cards or postcards you want to use as the cover of your notebook. So here I am folding a postcard, and then you just go through your paper stash and decide what papers you want to include inside. It could be decorative papers, book papers, or even just plain paper if you want something for note taking. So then you would just trim things to size, get the papers that you want to use, and trim those to size so that they will be all ready to create into a journal. So you can see me doing that for this postcard here, which is a pretty small notebook size. I decided actually to fold it so that the white part of the postcard is on the outside. And the reason for that is because I wanted to decorate this notebook. So the nice color portion is actually going to be on the inside with the rest of the pages of this book, which are also decorative papers and colored. But that basically allows me to sort of change the cover of this little notebook so that it can be a gift for someone, and I could make it for any occasion or any theme by creating sort of a custom cover. So here I have all the papers cut out and ready, and then I'm going to pre-fold everything because that will make it easy to know if I need to trim. And I'm just arranging it right here to see like how I want the pages to be ordered so that when it's put together, it's sort of aesthetically pleasing or like an order of colors that I really like. So I'm folding all the papers here and just putting them together with that little postcard. And I don't want to include too many pages because then it would get really bulky. But obviously it's up to you. It really depends on the thickness of the papers. So I have my little notebook here and it's all ready to go. I might need to trim the side a little bit if I don't want that sort of excess hangover. Or you can keep it that way if you prefer. And now I have this greeting card, which is really decorative, so I want that to be the cover. And so I just need to decide on papers that I want to put inside. And I decided to go with vintage papers, and I'm probably going to add in some other matching colored papers as well. And it sort of goes with the look of this greeting card. And so here I have all of the papers trimmed and ready to go for the small postcard and for the greeting card. And I like to sew up my notebooks because there's that handmade touch, and it also creates a really sturdy and strong notebook. I just punch 3 holes. I just eyeball it and I use an awl to punch 3 holes, and then I sew up the notebook with some strong linen string. And if you want to see how I make notebooks in general, you can go back and watch my other video which goes through the process in detail. But basically, it's in long stitch or pamphlet stitch method, and it's really easy. And I just tie the knot on the outside in this case because I think it's quite decorative. Of course, if your papers aren't too thick, you can also just run it through a sewing machine, or you can also try stapling the sides, especially if it's a very small notebook. You probably won't have trouble with that if you don't want to sew it up in the sort of traditional book binding method. But I think it's a pretty easy process and something that you can do very quickly, especially for these small notebooks that don't require a lot of string and there's just 3 holes. So if you need, use a binder clip to hold your papers together if you're having trouble sort of stringing your needle through, like I am here, and then that will make it easier for you to sew up your papers. So make sure that you have at least 3 holes, as I mentioned in my previous videos about bookbinding, because that will make sure that it is very strong and the papers won't shift or move around. So you want to have at least 3 holes, even if it's such a tiny little notebook. So here it is, all done. And of course, I'm going to sew up also the larger greeting card, but really in the same fashion. Even though it is larger in size, I'm only using 3 holes here as well, because I don't think that it's too much, meaning it won't be too loose for such a small notebook. But if you prefer, you can definitely have more holes if you think that it's necessary. I'm using a binder clip to hold the papers together while I sew again, and it just makes the process easier to sew up. And at the end, I want to make sure I tighten the string and then tie the knot. And again, I'm tying it on the outside because it just looks a bit more decorative. So it was a pretty quick and easy process just to get these papers together, trim them up, and then just sew them up to become little cute notebooks. And here now I want to show you how I decorate this little one that I made blank on the outside on purpose, because I wanted to decorate it with some embellishments on the cover and make it a part of some happy mail that I'm going to be sending out. So you can definitely use embellishments that you have from your stash, other papers, gift tags, stickers, and I definitely have a lot of printables that I've already printed out in my stash, as well as stickers to use and include just to sort of spice up the cover a bit and maybe give it sort of a theme. So I'm going with that navy blue color, and now I'm looking through all of my printables to find something that will match up with the blue that would make a nice sort of background, just so that I could fill up that space there and make it a bit more decorative. Even though I like the little stamp area there, it's pretty cute. So I'm just gonna position things properly and glue everything onto the cover, and then maybe trim anything that is excess or not needed. So I want to put a sticker or some kind of sentiment on the front there. I'm just trying to decide like which one is better. So I decided on this little pre-made embellishment and this adventure awaits word sticker, and I'm just gonna glue that whole thing on the front after I trim off this sort of excess. And for any embellishments that are maybe slightly bulkier or not just flat paper, I like to use wet glue, because I think that it just will make it a bit more strong. And I'm pretty generous with my glue. I just want to make sure it stays there. So I stick that on and then give it a lot of time to dry. And that's basically my decorated cover. So here's a little peek at the finished tiny notebook, and the greeting card I actually left as is. So then I went ahead and made a couple more of these tiny notebooks because I think they're just really cute for including in snail mail. I hope you enjoyed this video and can go out into your stash and start making some notebooks from your old greeting cards or even new greeting cards. Let me know down in the comments below if you have any questions or if you have more ideas. I would love to know what you usually do with your greeting cards and postcards. And if you like my videos, remember to hit a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Until next time.